speaking of Ratan Tata and brand Tata, there are two other big brands in India, Amitabh Bachchan and Rajnikanth. And they're back on screen after 3 decades, back together, that is. The last time Amitabh Bachchan and Rajnikanth shared screen time was in a movie called Hum in 1991. Just to give you an idea how long back that was, Ratan Tata had just taken over as chairman Tata Group, and India's economic liberalisation had just begun. Now Amitabh and Rajnikanth are back together in this newly released film called Vettaiyan. It's an Indian, Tamil, Hindi language action drama film. Rajnikanth is a super cop. Amitabh Bachchan is a super lawyer. What else could he be? The film also features Fahadh, Faasil and Rana Daggubati. Now, if the first day bookings and reactions are anything to go by, then Rajnikanth, who's 73 years old, and Amitabh Bachchan, who turns 82 a day from today, they're still pulling in the crowds into theatres, and they're the hottest selling duo where brands are concerned. If you look at the number of brands that have partnered with these two actors who are in their 70s and early 80s. Now, these two actors are legends, and they've only gotten stronger with age. So what and how have they constantly reinvented themselves and stayed relevant? And what is brand Rajnikanth and what is brand Amitabh that seems to connect with people of all ages and demographics? Joining me to discuss this, Mayank, Shekhar, Saurabh, Varma, and in the studio I have with me my colleague Krishnakumar, who's just spilt his tea. So we're going to have chai pe charcha. Krishna, over to you.
Well, it's a Rajinikanth movie release, except that, as you rightly pointing out, there's a lot of nostalgia to this moment. Rajinikanth and Amitabh Bachchan coming together on screen. Last time they came back, they were together on screen. That movie called Hum was a blockbuster success. That movie also featured Govinda, incidentally. The only person missing from the trio in this film is Govinda.
Right.
But as if to overcompensate for the lack of Govinda, there is, a man who's called the best actor in the country at the moment, Fahadh Faasil.
Yes.
Rana Daggubati of Bahubali fame,
Right.
who played Bhallal Dev in Bahubali, coming together. You're talking about a director who's directing this film, T.J. Gnanavel. His previous film was a film called Jai Bhim,
Yes.
which was again a Tamil language film that found resonance across the country. The Hindi dubbed version was a big hit on OTT platforms, and so Mr. Gnanavel is somebody who's delivered a blockbuster success before this, except that didn't happen in the theatres.
Right.
Jai Bhim was largely an OTT success story that cut across language borders. So it was a success in Tamil, it was a success in Hindi, across other languages. So that's why there's such a curiosity about a film like this. And of course, the music, I have to point out, has been a blockbuster success even before the movie arrives. That's adding to the hype of the film.
Right.
Anirudh's music, Anirudh, who is the current highest paid music director in the country, who apparently charged 10 crore rupees for the music of Jawan, is the one giving the music for this. It's his third time giving music for a Rajinikanth movie. The last one, Jailer, his music was considered one of the pillars of the success of Jailer, which made over 600 crore rupees at the box office. So the expectations are very high. Rajinikanth's last film was 600 crore rupees plus at the box office. So will he be able to beat that with Vettaiyan, with the similar kind of music and high technical standards that the film is made with? Well, the proof lies in the pudding. And the proof of whether the film is a box office success or not, we'll know in about 72 hours from now. To start with, at least the first weekend collections should be good, because we're talking about an opening of anywhere over about 70 crore rupees just for day one. But that's all because of the names that you're talking about. You have Rajinikanth. Amitabh Bachchan, albeit, might not be like a hero in the film or a protagonist, but playing a key character in the movie. So there's a lot of allure to that. But we'll have to wait and watch how the audience receives it at this stage. It's got the makings of a hit. Your guess is as good as mine of whether it's actually going to be a big hit or not.
Makings of a hit indeed, and two big brands coming together who've strangely stayed away from each other for 3 decades. Mayank, what gives? Why did Amitabh and Rajnikanth never come for a film together after Hum, which was a blockbuster? And they're very good friends, incidentally.
No, why ask? Why until now not?
Yes.
Why not rejoice the fact that now they are together? We all distinctly remember Hum. You said a movie called Hum. It's not a movie called Hum. It's one of the finest blockbusters ever made.
Absolutely, it's for the generation that doesn't know. Born after Hum, of course.
Yeah, Mukul Anand. We miss him. He passed away in his mid-40s.
Yes.
He had a lot of movies in him. Speaking of which, I have to say, Lokesh's last film, Lokesh being the top directors from Chennai, his last film, Leo, right? And that's part of the Lokesh cinematic universe. That was also truly inspired by Hum as well. It's roughly the same story where the man comes back. He used to be an action guy, and then he comes back at later age, and he does. It's a revenge drama in the same sort. So even Hum has been around, and we kind of saw reminiscence of that in a Tamil film, which was a huge blockbuster.
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely.
Why they haven't done a film together? I think this is the right time, because now everyone seems to talk about the Pan India movie. And wasn't Hum also a Pan India movie? I mean, you had Rajinikanth from the south and Amitabh, and of course, as already mentioned, Govinda as well. I think this goes even further Pan India with the Malayalam superstar Faasil in it. So the sell is perfect. The sell is right. Now it will really depend on the script.
Speaking of which, I'm going to ask Saurabh, because he just watched the film. Saurabh, Vettaiyan, first takes on what the film was like. What do you think of it?
So I guess when you release a film or when you announce a film, from there till the release, there's already, there are 10 things you do to promote a film or make the film a brand.
Yes.
But just names, and with the combination of Fahadh, Faasil, and obviously Anirudh, the music director, just these 4 words are good enough for people to say, oh, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it in the first weekend itself. So there's no more required. You don't even need to release a trailer. And if you do, you can charge for it, because that's the kind of brand hype these people. But then every good thing also has a dark side to it.
Right.
So when it's radiant with a lot of sweetness, sometimes it becomes a little too sweet. There are lots of stars in the film. There's Mr. Bachchan, Rajinikanth, there's Mr. Fahadh, Faasil, there's Anirudh, there's Rana, Daggubati. But there's one star which is missing, which is the content, which is the story itself, which is the character arc.
Okay.
So that star, I just wonder that, you got everything right. You made a car with all the right things, but you forgot to put that one ingredient which makes it a winner in a Grand Prix or something. So that's one thing which I just that we missed.
The missing hero, the script. It sounds ominous for this movie. You think it will go past the first week?
Well, look, it should do well for the first weekend for all the reasons that Saurabh just spoke about. The hype is fantastic, and mainly they released 2 songs from the movie prior to this film, and both songs of Anirudh have become blockbuster success. So they're smash hits. So all of that is going to get the crowds into the theaters for the first weekend for sure. There should not be an issue. But the problem here that Rajini faces is that, unlike Jailer, his previous film, which he had to do a comeback with Jailer, because the previous film, Annathe, was not exactly a hit. It was a washout, so to speak. Right. Now, he has the onerous responsibility of trying to beat collections of over 600 crore rupees. Right. So, which means that Vettaiyan has a tall order to climb, and this is repeatedly been promoted as a content-heavy film. Yes. A serious story where, you find the character of Rajinikanth, not necessarily a typical Rajinikanth movie. And from some of the early reviews, like Saurabh and others, I think there is that eternal problem of how do you balance a Rajinikanth film with the right levels of story, and story progression, at the same time catering to the fans of Rajinikanth, not disappointing the fan base of Rajinikanth, who are there for the first weekend, in fact, the first 2-3 weekends, if need be. You have to satiate the fans of Rajinikanth. So that tightrope walk is extremely difficult. Many have fallen on either side. Sometimes it's too much of a Rajinikanth film and not enough of a story film, and sometimes it's too much of a story film and it's just Rajinikanth seems to be suffocating in that story. So this is an eternal problem with Rajinikanth films, and I think Vettaiyan will also face that problem. Net, like in politics, they say Janta Janardhan. We can sit here and pontificate about whether they got the balance right or not. But if the box office numbers then go on to tell a different story, then that's the real story. So I would, hold on to my horses and wait for the box office to speak, wait for the people's voice to speak. It's a little too early. Today is when the movie is released. Thankfully, it's got a longer weekend. It's the Dasara weekend. So, let's see. By Monday, 14th of October, we'll have a clear picture of whether Vettaiyan has hit the bullseye or not. And the bullseye being the 600 crore mark, as you mentioned. For now, that seems to be the standard. Standard for a Rajinikanth film. Yeah, for a Rajinikanth film. Because both the, 600 is when your film is a pan-South India hit. Yes. Jailer, for example, didn't do great business in the movie theaters in North India in the Hindi language. So if you do a great pan-South India film, which it did because, Jailer had actors, the top stars of Kannada, Malayalam and Telugu happening. So because of which it was a pan-South India hit, 600 crore rupees, it set a standard. That's what you can do without Hindi. Yes. With zero collections coming in from the Hindi language, you can make 600 crore rupees plus with South Indian languages. So that is the standard that is set. of course, the ambition here with the casting of Amitabh Bachchan
Yes.
is that Vettaiyan does some kind of better business in Hindi, and all that becomes a bonus. It
Right.
can go anywhere from 600. You know what happens when Hindi is added to the 600? It becomes a KGF. It becomes an RRR.
Right.
It becomes a Bahubali of 1,000 crore rupees
it's
plus.
the icing on the cake. And
Yes.
you know, Mayank, the interesting thing about Rajinikanth and Amitabh Bachchan is that, you know, Amitabh Bachchan started the trend of the angry young man. We've been revisiting that with the Salim Javed series, right? But Rajinikanth is the actor in the South who remade all of those angry young man roles. If you remember, in the 80s, Rajinikanth's rise to stardom in Tamil cinema was all remakes of angry young man roles of Amitabh Bachchan. Don, Lavaris, Sharabi, all of those movies.
Namak Halal.
Namak Halal as well.
So, Namak Halal was remade as Velakkaran
Yes.
in Tamil. Dawn was remade as Billa in Tamil.
Yes.
Divar was remade in Tamil as Thi. So, you know,
Right.
these were part of the, the iconic films that Rajinikanth...
So that kind of explains the bond between Rajinikanth and Amitabh Bachchan. It's almost like a guru-shishya kind of thing, right?
If I can add to this,
yes.
you know, so Rajinikanth, if he remade Amitabh Bachchan films, Amitabh Bachchan went down south in the 80s and remade a Kamal Hassan film.
Right.
That was called Aakhri Rasta in Hindi.
Kordi Punnal.
No, Aakhri
Oh,
Rasta.
that was Oru Kaidi in Diary.
Exactly,
That's
that
right.
one. Oru Kaidi in Diary, which is a Kamal Hassan film.
Right.
Amitabh Bachchan sees it, asks the Tamil director to come to Hindi and direct the film in Hindi
Yes.
without him knowing neither Hindi nor English.
Right.
And Aakhri Rasta goes on to become one of the most iconic films of Amitabh Bachchan.
But you know, and you've brought Kamala Hassan in. And Kamal is going to be 70 soon.
Yes.
Mayank, what gives? Amitabh Bachchan's going to be 82 tomorrow. Rajinikanth is 73.
74 actually. No.
Oh, is it 73 or 74?
In December, I think he will turn 74.
My goodness. And you have Kamal who's going to be 70. And these guys, you remember the old Duracell ad, Mayank? It's on Duracell, it goes on and on and on. What explains the star power of Amitabh Bachchan, Rajinikanth, Kamala Hassan? What is it that gives them such extraordinarily long shelf lives? The kind that we possibly haven't seen in any film industry before.
No, precisely. And that is why when we discuss numbers of a film that has Rajinikanth and Amitabh Bachchan in it, I mean, they're over it, right? I mean, they've been there, done that. They're in the 70s and the 80s. How does it matter whether they hit a 600 crore or, you know, that is for the
Right.
movies to figure out for themselves. I think people, I mean, for me personally, the fact that it is going to be Amitabh Bachchan's 81st birthday, I don't know a better way to celebrate it than to be in a hall with him in a Rajinikanth film. And
Yes.
let's never forget that it's going to be a Rajinikanth film first. And that's
Yes.
the star power that he's held. I think Rajini's star power has a lot to do with how he's kept himself in his public life and how he's separated from his screen life, as it were, and how he's also kept himself underexposed in a certain way. You
Yes.
look forward to his films, right?
Right.
And that just generally explains the eras these guys come from. One,
Yes.
we got used to them. Now we can't live without them. And the less we see of them, the more we want to see of them. And of course, Amitabh Bachchan has been the opposite end, where
Yes.
you literally find him on your TV set every night, right?
Right.
And he is just as agile, mentally agile, just as engaged with his audiences. And he's just become a part of us. And yeah, I mean, no matter what Saurabh says, this is a critic-proof film, guys. And I'm pretty sure all of you are coming along as well to
Right.
celebrate Bachchan's birthday with Rajinikanth on the screen.
Saurabh, again, I mean, critic-proof film, that's a good line. I'm going to use that somewhere. Well, Saurabh, the enduring appeal of brand Bachchan, brand Rajinikanth. Rajinikanth hasn't done any commercials. He's just possibly done one or two in his entire career. And you have Mr. Bachchan who's done 20 of them. He's literally coming out of every screen that you know, whether it's KBC or his 20 commercials, Chavan Prash and soft drinks, what will you have? But Saurabh, what explains the enduring brand Bachchan and brand Rajinikanth?
So I'll just dissect these brands into two different things. But one thing common between them is the kind of discipline they have.
Right.
And just like any other brand, they have a fire still running, high. You won't hear complaints of they not coming on time or
Yes.
not entertaining professional commitments. That's still, the kind of enthusiasm Mr. Bachchan, wherever he does, whatever he does, including his management of his social media,
Right.
he looks at it like a child, wanting to learn everything.
Yes.
So that's, I think, what makes him stronger. And same with Mr. Rajnikanth. Their choices, like South is doing one thing very right, that the aura of the star is limited and you don't see them everywhere.
Right.
So that's something, you look at any, whether it's Allu Arjun or whether it's Mahesh Babu, you don't see them everywhere. They won't come all out to promote the film. There are 2 films also releasing this week, which is Vicky Vidyaga Video and Jigra, who are trying to go tom-tom about, going every city, trying to release trailers, things like that. But these, the South stars don't do it. So I think that
Right.
brings in another mystery.
Right.
The brand value for some. So I think these are 2 things. But there's also a third brand, which is the film, which
Right.
is a combination of these 2 stalwarts. I can
Right.
compare it in a very lighter note with this iPhone launch, where the product is good, the brand is good,
Yes.
but you want a little bit more than what the previous version was. So I'm not
Absolutely.
comparing it to Hum, and for compare it with Hum. I wish I could. So
Yes.
that's what you want. You want better than Hum. That's what makes it more charming and better.
Absolutely. An iPhone launch, as Saurabh just called it. That's what Vettaiyan possibly is, the movie that's hitting the box office. It's already supposed to have broken the box office, according to my colleague Krishnakumar here, but that's something that we'll be looking out for. Can Amitabh Bachchan and Rajnikanth recreate the magic they once did with this movie called Hum back from 1991? But thank you very much for joining us this evening. Saurabh, Mayank, and my colleague Krishnakumar in the studio.